Welcome friends, I am Ankita Meshram, MTech in Structural Engineering, Faculty of Civil Engineering Department at Tulsiramji Gaikwad Patil, College of Engineering and Technology, Nagpur, accredited with NAC A+ grade. So, welcome friends in today's video lecture based on subject Surveying 1. The topic which I am going to deal with in today's session is chain surveying, right? So, in my previous lecture, I gave you the brief introduction of surveying 1, various classification of surveying, right? So, today we discuss about one of the classification is chain surveying, right? Which includes determination of linear measurements on the field, right? So, I begin with the presentation. So, in this topic, I will cover the introduction part regarding the chain surveying. What are the different methods for making the linear measurement? What are the different types of chains? Different types of tapes, right? The terms related with chain surveying. Then we discuss about the points for selection of survey station plus operation in chain surveying, right? And at last, we will discuss about the principle of chain surveying and various terminologies, right? So, this is the overall view of the presentation, right? We begin with the definition of linear measurement, right? Then the introduction about the linear measurement, about the chain surveying, what are the various instrument which is required for performing the chain survey, right? What is mean by chain surveying? What are the various operations involved in chain surveying, that is chaining, ranging, offsetting, right? Then we discuss about the obstacles in chain surveying. What are the different errors occur in chain surveying? What are the different corrections involved in chain and tape surveying, right? So, I begin. First of all, I would like to define what is mean by linear measurement, right? So, the measurement of horizontal distance between 2 points on the surface of the earth is called as linear measurement, right? So, an example is displayed over here, right? There is a ground surface, right? There is a station A and station B. You have to measure the horizontal distance between station A and station B, right? So first of all, you have to fix the ranging rod at station A and at station B, right? For making the alignment straight. Okay, so with the help of chain, you are able to find out the horizontal distance between point A and B. So there are three methods for making linear measurement. Number one is direct method, number two is optical method, and number three is electronic distance measurement method, right? So in direct method is classified into two categories, that is without instruments or with instruments, right? So direct methods without instruments deal with, number one is judging the distance, number two is spacing, number three is time interval. So the pacing method is described over here, right? So you have to count your steps and find out the horizontal distance. The distance between two steps is called as one pace, right? So you can able to see this. A person find out the or determine the horizontal distance with the help of pace, right? So a person usually take longer pace on a flat ground or shorter space on a rough ground, right? So by counting the pace, by counting the distance between two steps, that is the pace, you are able to find out the horizontal distance, right? Next one is the direct methods with instruments, right? So there are number of instruments which are used for carried out the linear measurement, for determination of linear measurement. Number one is chain, number two is odometer, number three is passometer, next is speedometer, and last one is speedometer, right? So one by one we are going to discuss about, right? So this is the chain called as engineer's chain, right? This is the odometer. It is a very simple device which can be attached to the wheel of bicycle or any such vehicles, right? The odometer registers the number of revolution made by the wheel, right? The distance covered is equal to the product of the number of revolutions, and the perimeter of the wheel, right? So in this way, you are able to find out the horizontal distance, able to determine the linear measurements, right? The next is passometer. It is a very compact instrument, right? It is generally a step counter, right? So by counting your steps, you are able to find out the linear measurements. So as I already said, it is a small instrument which counts the number of paces, right? Next is pedometer, right? So basically, pedometer directly gives the distance by multiplying the number of paces with the average pace length of the person, right? Again, it is a very handy and compact instrument for determination of linear measurements. Next is speedometer. Okay, as you all know that this is a very commonly used instrument in automobiles for measuring the distances, right? Every vehicle have the speedometer in it for the distance, for the determination of the distance, right? So now I am going to discuss about what are the various instruments used for performing the chain survey, right? So number one is you required chain, right? So there are different types of chains available. Number one is metric chain, number two is Gunter's chain, number three is engineer's chain, number four is revenue, and at last there is a steel band, right? Now there is a second option for dealing with the linear measurement, right? That is tape. Okay, so it is available in the different type. Number one is cloth or lenient tape. Number two is fiberglass. Number three is metallic tape. Number four is steel tape, and the last one is invert tape, right? So you are able to determine the horizontal distance, or you are able to take the linear measurement with the help of chain or by tape, right? The next instrument which you required for performing the chain survey is arrow. Next is ranging rods and offset rods. Number 5 is pegs, and at last there is a plumb bob, right? So one by one we going to discuss about the functions of this instrument, right? So number one is chain. So there are different types of chains available. Number one is metric chain. It consists of galvanized mild steel wire of 4 mm diameter known as link, right? 4 mm in diameter and 20 centimeter is the length of the one link, right? So metric chain is available in 20 meter, 30 meter and 50 meter length, right? Which consists of 100 links in 20 meter chain, 150 links in 30 meter chain. Okay. So while performing survey, we generally use metric chain, right? So whenever we deal with the practical session of surveying, we always deal with the metric chain, right? So 20 meter chain and 30 meter chain is available in our laboratory, right? So the next one is Gunter's chain, right? So as you all can see that a Gunter's chain is 66 feet long, consisting of 100 links, each of 0.66 feet. Okay, so it is known as Gunter's chain. The chain is suitable for taking length in miles. Okay, and the metric chain is suitable for the smaller area. Okay, next one is engineer's chain. 100 feet long chain consisting of 100 links, each of 1 foot is known as engineer's chain. This chain is also used to measure length in feet and area in square yard, right? The next one is revenue chain. It is 33 feet long chain consisting of 16 links. This chain is used for distance measurement in feet and inches for the smaller areas, right? So generally while performing survey, we go with the metric chain, right? So this is the image of 20 meter metric chain, right? The distance of 20 meter is measured from one end of the brass handle to the another end of the brass handle, right? As you all can see that there is a links 4 mm diameter and 20 centimeter is the length of one link, right? All the links are connected with the help of brass rings, right? So the chain is flexible in nature, right? So as you all can see that there is a tally provided at every 5 meter, at every 10 meter or at every 50 meter for simpler measurement, right? So as you all can see that 5 meter tally having one tooth, 10 meter tally having two teeth, and 15 meter tally having three teeth, right? So it is for the recognition, simpler way for determining the linear measurement, right? So this is the image of 20 meter metric chain, right? Okay, again this is the image of surveyor's chain, right, that is the Gunter's chain, used to establish horizontal distance along compass sight lines. One length is equal to 0.66 feet or 7.92 inches, and one chain is equal to 66 feet or 100 links, right. So this is the image of Gunter's chain, right. At last, you are also able to use the steel band chain. It is more preferable than chains because they are more accurate, but the disadvantage is that they get broken easily and are difficult to repair in the field. Okay, and these are also available at 20 meter or 30 meter length, 12 to 16 mm wide, and 0.3 to 0.6 mm thick, right. Now, we discuss about the type of tapes which are available for determination of linear measurements for calculating the horizontal distance, right. So number one is cloth tape or lenient tape. They are woven lenient and varnished to resist moisture. They are generally 10 meter, 20 meter, 30 meter long and 12 to 15 meter wide, right. Number two is fiber tape. These tapes are similar to linen and plastic coated tapes, but these are made up of glass fiber. These tapes don't stretch and shrink due to temperature, right? It is also available in 20 meter, 30 meter and 50 meter length. Next is your metallic tape. A linen tape reinforced with brass or copper wires to prevent stretching or twisting of fibers is called as metallic tape. Okay, so it is commonly used for taking offsets in chain serving. We generally use metallic tape while performing the chain serving. Okay. Next is steel tape, right? It is made up with steel material and commonly available in 20 meter, 30 meter and 50 meter length. It is graduated in meter and centimeter, right? So this is called as steel tape, right? The next one is Invar tape. It is made up of an alloy of nickel 36% and steel 64% in it, having very low thermal expansion. These are 6 mm wide and generally available in 30 meter, 50 meter and 100 meter. There are some images displaying over here the example of tapes, right. So we mostly use this type of tape for performing the chain serving for determination of the linear measurements, right. Next instrument we are using for performing the chain survey is arrow, right. So arrows are generally made up of tempered steel wire of diameter 4 mm. One end of the arrow is bent into ring of diameter 50 mm and other end is pointed, right. The other end is pointed so that it can be easily fixed into the ground, right. Its overall length is 400 mm. Arrows are used for counting the number of chains while measuring the chain line, right. And it is also used to establish a intermediate station. Okay. So the next is ranging rods, or you can say offset rod, right. So ranging rods are used for ranging some intermediate points on the survey line. So basically ranging means to establish an intermediate point along the survey line so that the alignment of the survey line should be straight, right. So for this purpose you required a ranging rod, right. So it is generally available in 2 to 3 meter in length and are painted with alternate bands of black and white or red color strip with length of each equalizing 20 centimeter. Okay, they are alternately painted with black and white or red colors for the visibility purpose, right. The offset rod is similar to the ranging rod with the expectation that instead of hook a flag is provided at the top, right. So ranging rod is pointed at the end for the fixing purpose, right, so that they can easily fix into the ground. Okay. Next one is the pegs. Pegs are made up of timber or steel and they are used to mark the position of the station or terminal points of survey line, right. Wooden pegs are 15 centimeter long and driven it into the ground with the help of hammer. So generally they are used for establishing the station points, right. At last, the instrument which you are going to use for performing the chain survey is plumb bob, right. So it is used to transfer the points on the ground. It is also used for fixing the instrument exactly over the station point marked on the ground by checking the center of the instrument whether coincide with the center of the peg, right. So basically these are used for making the centering process, right, establishing the center of the point over the ground, right. So these are the some pictures of ranging rod, arrows, pegs, right. You all can able to see that there is a ranging rod painted with alternate white and red strip, right, having a pointed edge at end for the fixing purpose, right? And they are about 2 meters long in length. Okay. There is a arrow displaying over there and the peg, right? So this is the overall instrument which you have to require for performing the chain survey, right? Always fix the ranging rod and arrows in a straight vertical direction, right? There is no inclination is there. Okay. The ranging rod should always be vertically straight, right? Now we are going to discuss about the chain surveying. Okay, so in chain surveying only linear measurement is taken in the field, no angular measurements is taken, right? And it is always done for small area or small work, right? First of all, it is used for locate the boundary of the plot or land or locate the existing features, right? You have to divide the area into network of triangles, and side of triangles are measured directly with the chain or tape, right? So the basic principle of chain surveying is triangulation, right? So triangulation is the principle of chain surveying. Triangulation means you have to divide the whole area into network of well conditioned triangles. Okay, the angles should be greater than 30 degree and should be less than 120 degree, right? This particular angle is called as well conditioned triangles. The angles are greater than 30 degree and less than 120 degree, right? So basically you have to divide the whole area into number of small triangles for the performing the chain survey, right? So this is the basic principle, always remember. Next, as you all can see that an image is displaying over here. While performing the chain survey, okay, you have to first establish a main station along the boundary of the field, right? And the line joining the main station are called as main survey line, right? So as you all can see that there is a station A, station B, station C and station D. These all are marked along the boundary of the field, and the line which joins the station A, station B, station C and station D are generally called as main survey line, right? Then after that you have to divide the whole area into number of triangles, right, by establishing the subsidiary stations, which is denoted with the help of S2, right? So the line joining the main station and subsidiary stations is called as check line, right? Now in the network of the triangle, again you have to establish some tie stations for the accuracy purpose, right? And the line joining the tie stations is generally called as tie line, right? All these lines are established with the help of taking offsets, right? So while performing the chain survey, you have to generally carry out the three process. Number one is chaining, number two is ranging, and number three is offsetting, right? So the three operations are involved while performing the chain survey, right? So this is the overall diagrammatic representation of the terminologies related to the chain survey. Okay, as you all can see that there is a station A, B, C, D along the boundary of the field. There is a subsidiary stations inside the field, that is S1, S2, and there are some tie stations also, that is T1 and T2, right? The longest survey line is called as baseline, right? And the line joining the main station and subsidiary stations are called as check line, and the line joining the tie stations are called as tie line, right? And the main survey line is always goes along the boundary of the field, right? As you all can see that. So these are the various terminologies related with the chain surveying. As I already discussed about this, survey station means point at the beginning and at the end of main survey line or chain line. So there are different parameters. Number one is main station. As I already discussed, they taken along the boundary of an area as a control points. Line joining the main station are called as main survey line. Main survey line should cover the whole survey area, and in the previous diagram it is denoted with the help of triangle with letter A, B, C, D, right? Number two is subsidiary station. The station on the main survey line or any other survey line. This is the station, the line joining the subsidiary station, subsidiary survey line, called as subsidiary survey line, right? So it is taken to divide the area into the triangles, into the network of triangles, for checking the accuracy of triangle and for locating the internal details. Okay, as you all can see that in previous diagram, the subsidiary station is denoted by circular shape, right, with letter S1, S2, S3. Number 3 is your tie stations. They are taken on main survey line. The line joining the tie station is called as tie line, and it is located for locating the internal details, and in the previous diagram it is denoted by circle with letter T1, T2, T3, etc. Right? So the main survey line, it always the line joining the main station, right? So in the previous diagram, AB, BC, CD and DA all are the main survey line. As you all can see that the AB, BC, CD and DA, the lines are join the main station points, right? Number 3 is baseline. As I already discussed that it creates the framework of the survey, right? It is the most important line and it is the longest line of survey, right? So longest line of main survey line is generally considered at baseline, taken through level ground and measured accurately, right? Next is your check lines. These are the lines joining the apex point of triangle to some fixed points on its base. They are generally used for check the accuracy of triangles and locate the internal details. In the diagrammatic representation, it is represented by CS1, CS2, right? Next one is tie line. These are the lines joining the tie stations. They are generally established to avoid long offset and to locate the internal details which are far away from the main line. That is, the tie stations and tie line are denoted in the previous diagram with T1 and T2. So, the points for selection of survey stations are, number 1 is station should be intervisible. So, while we perform chain surveying, our stations should be intervisible to each other, right? Number 2 is station should be minimum, right? The area should form well conditioned triangle network, should be so located to form base, check and tie lines. The station should be selected within the boundary of the survey area and the station should be taken through the level ground, should be established on a level ground, right? So these are the some points while selecting the survey stations you have to keep in mind, right? So now I am going to discuss about the what are the various operations involved in chain surveying, right? So number 1 is chaining. Chaining operation is performed with the help of chain or by tape also. That is, you have to measure the horizontal distance or determine the linear measurements, right? Number 2 is ranging operations, right? So basically ranging is done to establish an intermediate point along the survey line for making the alignment of survey line straight, right? So ranging operation is generally carried out with the help of ranging rod, right? After that you have to carry out the offsetting operation in which you have to establish the offsets through the survey line, right? So basically these are carried out with the help of crosstab or optical square, right? So you can able to set the perpendicular offset as well as oblique offsets with the help of offsetting operation, right? So next we are going to discuss about the methods of chain surveying, right? So there are generally two methods involved in chain surveying. Number 1 is method of chaining on level ground. Number 2 is method of chaining on sloping ground, right? So methods of chaining on sloping ground include two methods, that is direct and indirect method. These are already discussed in your theoretical lectures, right? Next is there are some obstacles involved while performing chain surveying. So they are basically classified into three categories. Number 1 is when chaining is free but vision is obstructed, right? That means you are able to carry out the chaining operation but you are not able to carry out the ranging operation. That means the vision is obstructed, right? But the chaining is free, okay? Number 2 obstacle is when chaining is obstructed but vision is free, right? So in this you are not able to carry out the chaining operation but the vision is free. That means you are able to carry out the ranging operation. The example of the second obstacle is river or pond, right? So while we doing the survey across a river, So it obstruct the chaining operation, right? We cannot establish the chain, we cannot lay down the chain over the river, right? So here in this case the chaining operation is obstructed, but we can easily intervisible the station point and we can easily carry out the ranging operations, right? So number 3 is when chaining and vision both are obstructed, right? So in this case, we are not able to perform the chaining operation as well as the ranging operation. So one of the example of this type of obstacle is your building, right? So while a building across over the field, we cannot able to do the chaining operation as well as not able to do the ranging operations, as both the stations are not visible to each other and there is a building situated between the two stations, so chaining operation is also obstructed in that case, right? The next which we are going to discuss about, that some errors which are occurred while performing the chain survey, right? Number 1 is compensating error, right? These error are generally compensating in nature, right? We can rectify this error, okay? Number 2 is cumulative error. This error goes on continue till the last, right? So it is called as cumulative error. At last there is a error occurred due to personal, right? So this is called as personal error, as a human error, as we all can say that a human error occur while performing the chain survey, right? So here in this PPT, here in this session, I almost tried to cover the whole discussion about the chain surveying, that is the determination of linear measurement. Hope you all are able to understand the concept in detail about chain surveying, right? So thank you so much for understanding, for listening the lecture very patiently, right? We will again meet in the another video lecture of compass survey, right? Till then, thank you so much. Take care.